Huge thanks to the Cosmodread developers for providing me with 2 free copies of the game. Cosmodread for the Oculus Quest 2 is a VR horror adventure title and is the spiritual successor to Dreadhalls, the grandfather of all VR horror games. And it is a darn good one at that. With a game like Cosmodread, atmosphere, immersion, and presentation are key to instilling players with a sense of unease and always keeping them on their toes. It simply crushes it in every one of these categories. Beginning with visuals, the environments are all extremely detailed and eerie. I love some of the reflections off objects and the polished look on almost every item. The sci-fi horror look found in literally every place contributes to the tension in the air and looks just flat out great. Especially these otherworldly sinister creatures that attack you. For my money, it's easily one of the most visually impressive games on Quest. Though I actually saw plenty of people complaining that the visuals were underwhelming or too bland, but I just simply cannot relate. The game takes place on a virus-infected spaceship with barely running power, so of course there will be dark environments with similar coloring. And it may sound odd, but that just contributes to the immersion and atmosphere. Feeling as if this was an actual place where real people actually used to live before an actual catastrophe happened gives this mesmerizing sense of real unease. And this constant tension in the air will leave you paranoid beyond belief. Even after hours of playing, I'm still repeatedly looking behind my back, opening doors carefully, and always keeping my eyes peeled with weapon in hand. It's a game that will leave you hooked and anxious at all times. In most areas, you can't look too far in front or behind you due to this fog of darkness, and this is just one of the ways that immersion and atmosphere come together. Not being entirely sure of your surroundings is brilliant because it always keeps players on their toes. Even if you think nothing is behind or in front of you, within a second's notice, a half-decayed deceased beast could appear right before your eyes, prepared to rip every limb from your body. Cosmodread is somehow able to emulate that sensation of fear unlike any other VR title, because it's not just being scared, it's being scared for an actual reason. There's a real purpose to what you're doing here, and encountering danger could mean the end of your mission to return to Earth. So, while the story of Cosmodread isn't too much more than some audio logs and a quick mini cutscene at the beginning of the game, it easily piques my curiosity, and it strongly encouraged me to keep playing. Basically, you crash landed on a defunct spaceship with the ever-growing need to book it back to Earth in a brand new spaceship. Of course, for you to get a spaceship, you A, must get the required parts, and B, survive long enough to actually get those required parts. But how do you defend against animal-like brutes with no sense of remorse? Now, for such an immersive horror title as Cosmodread, you really don't need to have the most in-depth gameplay. The simple act of hearing vents shift with the weight of a potential monster out to kill you that's lurking in the dark is enough engagement alone. Though this is easily where the devs knocked it out of the park the most, and Cosmodread ascends from a simple horror title to potential Quest Game of the Year. The gameplay has 3 main components: shooting, crafting, and collecting. Starting with collecting, this is a spaceship devoid of life, except for the grotesque creatures out to kill you, and it doesn't even have most of its power, basically meaning no real oxygen. To combat this, you must find canisters scattered throughout the vessel and bring them to your mouth to replenish your oxygen. There's a convenient little timer on your left hand, letting you know exactly when your oxygen will become empty. In addition, you can store these canisters along with any item in your 10-slot inventory, which is pretty nice. It forces you to constantly pick and choose between the most valuable resources and leads to some seriously tough decisions. Other items consists of food, water, audio logs, databanks, ammo, power banks, and an assortment of crafting materials, all of which are crucial to success. Food and water offer healing in times of desperation. Audio logs help unveil the mysterious lore behind the game. And ammo, which its use is pretty self-explanatory. And power banks have limited uses and power up lights and some light machinery. If you notice, I left out 2 items in particular, databanks and that assortment of crafting materials, because those tie in directly and exclusively with Cosmodread's extremely amazing, highly engaging crafting system. See, those crafting materials each provide a different resource that is required to craft a new item. Some items take different ingredients, and a lot of the fun with crafting comes down to managing your inventory. Do you take that pocket calculator so you can make a new weapon, or do you grab an extra oxygen canister because you're running low? This is where a lot of the game's challenge comes from and keeps me actively engaged at all times. But oh, were it only so simple to craft things. See, you actually have to unlock these recipes for new weaponry and items. To do so, you use those databanks from before and insert them like so. Doing so unlocks a random new crafting recipe. It's always fun to see what you might get next. Also, if you are able to get the blueprint for a new weapon, you can start with it during your next play session, which is extremely useful. While crafting may be hard to successfully pull off, it is easily worth it in both the short term and long term. It's simply one of the core mechanics of Cosmodread and is a large reason that the game is so unique. Now, the shooting aspect of this game is good, just nothing mind-blowing. You start off with a crossbow and gain new weapons as you progress through crafting, and all the basic essentials of shooting are here. Since there's finite ammo, you must conserve and determine only the best times as when to shoot. While I think it'd be cool starting with just a standard pistol instead of a bow, it's actually a pretty unique weapon that, after getting adjusted to, is really fun to play with. Also, unlocking my own weapons through hard work really gives this sort of satisfaction with every new weapon that isn't found in most other shooters. So even though there wasn't too much there to talk about in terms of shooting, I'd now like to discuss a hidden 4th element to Cosmodread's in-depth gameplay: exploration. This game is a roguelike that is procedurally generated. Each run offers a brand new experience with new areas. Sure, some areas stay, like the central hub of the ship, and the game doesn't feel all that different, but it's just enough to make each playthrough feel fresh and varied. And no matter what, exploring these hallways, gathering supplies, and adventuring through this defunct place is a pure treat. In addition, the constant need of oxygen forces the player to always be moving, no matter what, never feeling truly safe and secure. So in a way, the game is always actively encouraging the player to scavenge about the spaceship in constant search and investigation. Truly, these exploration-based elements are easily my favorite part of Cosmodread, and are really just one of the ways this game exceeds my expectations for what a sci-fi horror title can be. Anyways, I highly recommend checking out Cosmodread either on the Quest or PC VR stores. And hey, if you're looking for a free Steam VR key for Cosmodread, then I'm doing just that. For more details, check out my gameplay video of this game, the corner in the top right. But anyways, basically, just comment and subscribe on either this video or the gameplay video, and you'll be entered for a chance to win a free Steam VR key.